So guys, just finished reading this book by Nigel Latta, Lessons on Living, Finding Your Way Through Life's Ups and Downs. I guess how I first come across his journey is last year when in the thick of Miriana's journey with cancer. I actually come across his story, and unfortunately he was also diagnosed with an incurable form of stomach cancer. So I guess the relatability of it all, which is the reason or the thing that kind of drew me towards the story. And it wasn't actually until a couple of weeks ago I was browsing a local bookstore in Auckland, and I happened to come across this book, so I purchased it. And yeah, it was a real insightful book. He was a great man who lived a great life, and I guess for those of you who don't know about Nigel Latta, he's a clinical psychologist from New Zealand for the last 30 years, and dedicated his life's work towards helping parents raise better children, and worked in the space of mental health and resilience. But yeah, I guess this book, he kind of dwindles his life successes and his moments of overcoming adversity. He dwindles all of those learnings down to three key guiding principles in which he lives by. And firstly, it's not about what happens to you, it's about how you respond. Secondly, it's about focusing on what you can control and not focusing on what you can't control. And lastly, was teamwork. What was kind of interesting though is on the last chapter of his book, he talks about a value that, although he has these kind of guiding principles, there's one value that's the key to everything, and it's a value that kind of encapsulates all three guiding principles, and it's the value of love. You know, the love of his partner, his wife, the love of his children, the love of his family, and also the love of his community who supported him through his journey. And I guess what kind of captivated me or struck a chord in my heart is, you know, when me and Miriana were going through her journey, and I guess as I was experiencing it alongside her in the last month, and especially the last weeks of her life, we had come to the exact same realization that all that really matters is love. You know, the love shared between both me and her, the love of her family, the love of her friends, and ultimately the love of her community, both near and far, especially on social media, that sent their messages of encouragement, sent their messages of support, sent their messages of prayers and good health towards her. And yeah, so just reading this last chapter on love kind of brought me back to that realization. And a story comes to mind about a month before Miriana passed away. You know, we were lying on the hospital bed together in the hospital room, watching TV, and it was quite late at night, I guess 9-10 p.m, and you know, she rolls over to me, turns over to me and says, "Nui, I think I finally know my purpose in life." I said, "What is that?" And she goes, "My purpose in life is to lead with love. My purpose in life is to live a life of peace, love and light for other people." And I remember that moment having a profound impact on me, because I remember thinking, you know, here's someone, you're going through probably one of the most worst things that any human could ever go through, something so unfair, something so cruel, something so unjust, yet despite it all you're choosing to lead with love. And I guess even more so I'm kind of processing what that meant and everything she kind of taught me in the last couple months. But yeah, just reading this book and seeing him talk about it in his last chapter truly struck a chord in my heart, and just felt like I had to talk about it. And kind of just got me thinking as well, you know, here you have Nigel Latta, someone who's 50 years of age, you know, travelled the world, clinical psychologist for 30 years, spoken in front of thousands of people, had a lot of life experience. Yet on the other hand, you had Miriana, a young female, 21 years of age, someone who hadn't lived as much as Nigel Latta, someone who hadn't travelled as much, still trying to figure out what she wanted to do in her career, what she wanted to do with her life. So two completely individuals, completely independent from each other, had no idea who each other were, yet when both individuals were faced with the mortality of their own life, both individuals had come to this exact same conclusion, that the answer to everything is love. Love is the answer to everything. And I guess another idea, one could say that through this whole process or through this journey, one could say I've got quite an esoteric or philosophical point of view on life now. But I digress. But anyways, I guess going from that and just analysing that, I truly believe that there are universal truths or universal laws that govern reality and govern the reality we live in, and I guess the universe. And I guess the first or the biggest universal truth of them all is the art of love. Love. And when you truly get to the source of what it means to be a human being and truly strip us back of everything, and when an individual is faced with their own mortality and, you know, their status, their titles, their money can no longer serve them, the answer towards everything is ultimately love. It's about the people we love the most, but also the people who also love us back. So yeah, I guess those are the kind of thoughts that I've kind of had just analysing some of the stuff that I learned through Mediana. Especially my new life motto, leading with love, and yeah, especially reading Nigel Leather's book and his last chapter when he talks about love, and he says that, you know, it's something that he always knew about but never truly understood until he was looking at staring at his own mortality. And yeah, so I guess if you learn anything from this, or if I could just give a bit of advice, is just lead with love, be love, express love, receive love, give love. Just love, man. It's a crazy thing, but it's the answer to most of life's problems. Be kind, just be a good human being. You know, you never know what other people are going through, and one day it's all going to be done. So live a life that you're happy with, and live a life of love. So cheers. Thank you for listening to my TED Talk. Peace.